Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. For all my teachers out there, happy back to school day. I'm obviously struggling right now. I'm not used to being up this early, especially with a 3-hour show last night. So before I start this video, a couple shout outs that I have to give. The first one's to the New York Jets. For those that don't know, I am a teacher, 11 months of the year or 10 months of the year. And, I do try to work hard around that schedule, doing other things so that for most of July and August, my schedule is free. I'm not working. And I can get to training camp and do what I love the most, which is, get out there and cover this team. So shout out to the Jets for, credentialing us and allowing us to be there. And the second shout out goes to all of you guys that continue to call in. It's pretty overwhelming, to be honest. When we started this podcast 5 years ago, I don't think any of us envisioned it growing to what it is now. Every day there's new podcasts that are popping up, new shows. And, you guys continue to support us week after week. And, the show is it's about you guys. It's not, listening to my takes or Tyson or Joe's. You guys make this show just as much as we do. So we appreciate all the support, all the calls, all the listens and everything else. It's going to be a jam-packed season, just judging by, these last couple weeks. So, we're fired up and we're excited. And like I said, we definitely appreciate all the support. So looking at the team now, because I got a lot of things I got to address from last night's show. Hold on one second. So the first thing I got to address, and I know a lot of people think I'm just, green goggles, homer. I always try to put a positive spin on things. But being realistic about the team right now, I can't understand for the life of me how there's this attitude on social media like this team, it's going to be an average team. Like, we don't have pieces in place right now. And I get the talk about the depth, but I don't understand the excessive talk about the depth, I guess. Because as we've seen with a lot of other good teams around the league, if you have two things, a franchise quarterback and the right coaching staff, if you have those two things in place, those can mask a lot of other problems on your team. I'm not saying, our cornerbacks are, going to be able to stick with number ones and number twos now or anything like that. Or I'm not saying, we have a pass rusher that's going to rack up 10 sacks. I'm saying that when you have a quarterback and when you have a coaching staff, they're going to put guys in positions to succeed, okay? The biggest thing I look at with Adam Gase and with Sam Darnold, and this goes back to the talks throughout the entire offseason, we wanted an offensive approach, right? We wanted to be offensive first. And that's why I can't understand why there's this outrage from the fan base, why we don't have, a bunch of starters that are ready, depth-wise at cornerback or at linebacker right now. I'm like, how much did we expect, right? We got Le'Veon Bell, we got Crowder, we got Osemele, we had money to sign Khalil. Like, we made all these moves, Henry Anderson, Darrell Roberts. We made all these moves in the offseason, but obviously there was going to be some spots that weren't filled. And that's where the coaching staff comes into play and where the quarterback comes into play, right? When you have those two things, a lot of other problems get masked. And that's why my next topic with Greg Williams, right? I'm a huge fan of Greg Williams. I love everything about what he brings to the defense. Watching him at training camp every day was a blast. But my first complaint with Greg Williams is this, and we said it on the show last night. His job, along with Adam Gase, is to get the most out of these guys, especially the young players. So when you have a guy in Jachai who, and again, we don't know if Greg Williams had a hand in drafting him. Obviously, Joe Douglas didn't. But when you have a guy that's supposed to be a pass rush specialist, like Polite's supposed to be, use him to his strength, right? Gase was even saying the other day, like, Greg Williams wants his linebackers and all his defensive players to be able to do everything before they get on the field. I can understand that approach, right? And if that's Greg Williams' style and he wants to develop complete players, fine. I kind of get it. But at the same time, and we were talking about this last night with like Rex Ryan and Aaron Maben, right? That was a guy who was a first-round bust who, didn't really have a career after the Jets, right? He bounced around, I think, with the Bengals and somebody else, didn't really do a whole lot. But when he was here, Rex Ryan got like a 9.5 sack season out of him or whatever it was. So again, that's what I want to see from Greg Williams, right? I'm not saying Jachai Polite's going to be a 3-down player this year, but I would like to see him at least get into the rotation and be given an opportunity to utilize what his skill set is, which is a pass rusher. All right, so that's the first thing. Looking at some other things again, tomorrow is the last preseason game, so I think a lot of the roster battles will get decided then. With some of the fringe spots. I would say, like, you know, probably 46 to 53 on the roster might still be open. And I still say that there's probably going to be 5 or 6 guys through waivers, cuts, trades, whatever, that are going to be added to this team. I'm thinking probably 2 cornerbacks, maybe an edge guy, maybe a backup tackle, maybe another linebacker, inside linebacker. But other than that, I want to see a lot of these young guys who have been there since day one in camp, that have been working hard, that have been building the chemistry with a lot of these guys. I don't want to just discard all these players, right? These have been guys that have been working now for over a month. And if you think there is some potential there, if you think these guys have some talent, and if you think that, you know, playing alongside Adams and Mosley and Darnold and everyone else is going to make them better, I'd like to see them be given that opportunity before we rush them out of town and, you know, pick up a guy on waivers or somebody else. All right, so again, we got 4 weeks where there's no Copeland, there's no Herndon. You know, the offensive line, you know, they just got back yesterday into 7-on-7s. Let's see some of these other guys get an opportunity tomorrow night. Let's see what we have. But I do agree, we need depth. We need depth in the secondary, especially, possibly an edge guy, possibly a backup tackle. But it's not the end of the world, because starting 22, starting 24, if you want to include the slot guys, I think the Jets are pretty solid. So as long as they can stay healthy this year, I think we're probably looking at a 9-10 win season. I think we're looking at playoffs. I know a lot of people don't agree with that, and they think, you know, we're still, you know, a bunch of pieces away. But we're going to see what's going to happen. I'm fired up for tomorrow night. I'm fired up for week 1. We're 11 days away. Talk to you guys soon. Go Jets.